A pleasure to meet all at last, and welcome back to Films I'm Willing to Talk About Again. Now, for the record, these two films I had actually never seen before, until recently when I decided to do so in regards to marathoning through this hexology, known as the Sharknado series, by Sci-Fi, The Asylum, and of course, director Anthony Ferrante and writer Thunder Levin. The thing is though, I'm pretty much making it a rule that as long as I have various films that I have talked about before, I'm going to include even the ones I had not seen before. And so, with that in mind, what we're going to do here is talk about the remaining films in the Sharknado series. First of which is Sharknado 5, Global Catastrophe. Sharknado 5 is basically what it is, the 5th film in the series. And just coming out of my official viewership of it, what exactly would I have to say about it? Well, the unfortunate thing is that it's not at all that good. Even number 4 happened to do a pretty good job as a means of continuing the lore, and moreover, expanding on the big story and upfronts that took place with the catastrophes such as a Sharknado tended to evolve even further. Not just by growing into a bigger tornado, but also absorbing various elements, which were in fact a real-life phenomenon, especially back in the day. Elements such as electricity, radiation, fire, oil, etc. That has in fact been a real-life phenomenon, especially when it comes to studying real-life tornadoes. But in terms of what number 5 has had to offer us, it unfortunately does not so great, by all means. For 2017, that is probably to be expected, because there were loads of different films out there that had come around throughout that same year, and moreover, there had been lots of better choices that we could have gotten. Being that this was a TV series based off of Sci-Fi, and the fact that we got a hold of some new seasons from Futurama, for instance, it's really no surprise that given all the new stuff we've gotten, I'm sure there's better sources for this stuff. Anyways, Sharknado 5, as the title itself suggests, or at least the subtitle itself suggests, basically sets us up for an entire global catastrophe. It takes place not long after the events of Sharknado 4 had come around, because as it turns out, Sharknado epidemic is still a big problem for the Wexler, Shepard family, and beyond. With the likes of Finn, April, Gemini, Gil, and whatnot, trying their best to cope with the changes in hand, especially because they had defeated a new series of Sharknadoes. They thought that after Niagara Falls, things would be fine, but no. It basically becomes more of a worldwide issue. In fact, Gil himself ends up getting trapped inside one of the tornadoes. And because of this, Finn and April try to concoct a certain plan in order to save him and prevent him from becoming shark bait. So, what do they do basically? They organize a worldwide traveling plan. Yep. They think that going around the world is going to help save Gil. To be fair though, with all the different destinations that the Sharknadoes were heading to, including such locations, it's really no surprise that we got a film like this that does what it possibly can to have little plots and of course just make it seem like it's elaborate enough to become an entire whole movie. And so maybe in that sense of the worry, this would not have been a good idea even if the best film franchises out there like Toy Story had their own storylines like this. Of course, various places around the world, including Sydney, Rio de Janeiro, Giza, and other spots around the world, do get visited. And it's nice that they were able to have the rights to film these locations for the shoots, or by even the usage of some stock footage, when it would have been necessary to put it all together. But the thing is that it's not exactly a lot about the world. I mean, you have America itself, Australia, Brazil, Egypt, but not that much of anything else. It's not exactly that much of the world that you can possibly get out of something like this. And maybe even by the end of all that stuff, after all that has happened, with the endings still being as happy as one could imagine, with the Sharknadoes being dissipated, the sharks being killed, chainsawed, sliced, etc., shot, it really just is not at all worth that much of a review, especially when there isn't that much really worth talking about. Some elements are there, some guest stars are there, but unlike what we had in the first 4 films, Part 5 didn't exactly have all that much going together. But at least we did have the likes of Billy Barat and Dolph Lundgren. With all that stuff that we had gotten, well, it really isn't that much worthy of a good score. But I guess you could say that we did have ourselves a nice way to clean up number 5 from the list. My overall scoring to this will only be a good 5.2 out of 10.1, so not really worth it. But what does that mean for the 6th and final film in the series, which came out in 2018, Sharknado 6, It's About Time. Otherwise known as the last Sharknado, It's About Time. Because, after all, when that happened, nothing more came from it. There was no Sharknado 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, anything of that sort. So, it's probably for the best. In any case though, Sharknado 6, It's About Time, is also like as the title itself suggests. It takes place throughout time. Yeah, various parts of the past, present, and even future, with a certain robotic version of April Wexler herself. Yep. And traveling through time, stopping various Sharknadoes that cross through to different parts of history. They also encounter a various version of their own selves, whom have no Sharknadoes and are very peaceful. They do try to get to that life. Yeah. Even after watching through the whole thing, it was just really hard to come up with anything that good to say. Because I feel like that it was good that they stopped this, because had they gone on with a part 7, I wouldn't even bother watching it. And moreover, this really does mean I actually have a good excuse to say we're done with the Sharknado series. So, awesome. It's just impressive I was able to skate through 6 different films in only about a week's worth of time. So my overall scoring for Sharknado 6 is only going to be 3.9 out of 10.1. So, the lowest of the bunch. And with part 2 being the best one, with the likes of 1, 3, and 4 following it, it really is just amazing that they were able to get such a certain number of disasters and a good amount of actors all put together. The likes of Sci-Fi and The Asylum, Anthony Ferrante, Thunder Levin, and everybody else involved should feel proud of themselves. Having 6 straight films within 6 straight years, and supposedly a pretty big amount of money across all these different films. Because upon being released, statistically speaking, with all the films that came around, you got yourself one heck of a series with a lot of money in mind. And by any means, we're basically done with another big series. So all that's left to do now, here on Friday, is to go to the theater and get my review of The Wild Robot up and running. So with that in mind, thank you very much for watching through all of this stuff. And I'll see you guys later, not just with The Wild Robot, but also with some more material for films I'm willing to talk about again.
I want you, but I don't have you yet. I ain't got no tricks to be playing on you.